Welcome to Mikey's Video Game Madness. Today we are playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 for the PlayStation 4. I'm recording this on a base PlayStation 4 and not my PS4 Pro because I wanted a better picture, and the regular PS4 is in the bedroom with the recording stuff, and I wanted to directly record it to the computer because this is such a beautiful game. I wanted the clearest picture I could possibly record, so unfortunately it's not going to have the graphical improvements of the PlayStation 4, but I can't even record in 4K, so you can't really see the upscaled resolution. This is the loot crate system I'm kind of showing you right now. I had free loot crates for playing today. Big deal made about this. It's really not that big of a deal. The Need for Speed game kind of uses a similar system. Apparently at some point EA is supposed to charge, but I'll go to the menu in a second. It says they may or may not, so I don't know what they're gonna do. They're really stupid with all the controversy that this game has for them to start charging for the loot crates, but to be honest with you, I don't think it makes a big difference. I think it's more about how good you are on this game in order to win. If you look at my collection, I have most of the characters unlocked, and I don't play this game every single day. I'm pretty casual about it. Now, today I'm just gonna cover Starfighter Assault, but these are all the characters that you can unlock so far, and as time goes on, they'll release more and more stuff. I think the campaign's great personally, and I would love to own the disc just for the campaign, but you will need an internet connection in order to enjoy this game fully, especially with the added content. So this game will evolve over time, assuming that EA will still support it. People have been awfully harsh on this game. I feel like there's probably other games that have been just as greedy, but I feel like since it's Star Wars, people are more harsh about it. But you have the main story and you see Resurrection, and it looks like there's more room for them to add more for the campaign. So I definitely feel like, especially since the campaign expansion story left on a cliffhanger, I think that more will be added. But you saw arcade mode where you can modify it. I really hope that DICE actually releases all the online modes offline like they did with the skirmish mode and the original Star Wars Battlefront. But today we're just covering Starfighter Assault. This is such a large game, I didn't want to make a super long video, so I just focused on Starfighter Assault, which is my personal favorite mode. I would love it if EA actually just made a Star Wars game that was just based on spaceships, kind of like homage to the Rogue Squadron games. So right now we're playing the I think it's like the New Republic, which is basically, this is the new trilogy. Sorry if I don't get the terminology right. I'm used to just saying like the Rebel Alliance and the Empire. I actually personally like the newer films, but that's just me. That's the cockpit. It works a lot better than it did in the original Star Wars Battlefront, the EA version anyway. I want to make sure I'm clear because they're purists about the original Star Wars Battlefront and Battlefront 2 games on the PlayStation 2, original Xbox, and PC, which were good games in their own right, but I personally like this better. That's just me. I'm a little bit rusty in the beginning of this video just because I'm playing on a smaller television and I'm not used to seeing everything so small. I'm one of those people that have to get used to the size of the television. But yeah, you have the newer X-Wings where the front engines are actually split in half instead of having 4 individual engines. I really like the newer look of the X-Wings. I actually like the newer look of the TIE Fighters as well, with the little radar dish and the second turret on the bottom of them. Not all the TIE Fighters actually have that. Some of them actually are just like plain, and then the TIE Fighter interceptors are the ones with the turrets. But I only remember seeing the ones with the turrets on the opposite side in the movie, so I don't know if the plain TIE Fighters were invented just for this game. Just like you'll see the A-Wing right there. There wasn't an A-Wing when this game came out, but now they have a newer A-Wing when the Last Jedi came out, which is one of the things you can unlock super cheap, but it's considered a hero vehicle. I don't know what the exact differences are. I haven't really examined it. The closest I've been able to examine it is on toy models at the store, and the Hasbro toys, which are super simplified. But yeah, this is a fun mode. I actually can hold my own fairly well for compared to what I do at normal multiplayer. I actually can rank on these games, like actually make the top 5 list, which is pretty impressive for me on a competitive multiplayer game. I feel like the only other games that I can think of that I ranked, I could on Battlefield 3 on the PlayStation 3 a long time ago. I don't know how, but I did. But it only happened like a handful of times. And then on Overwatch, but Overwatch is more about teamwork. It's not a, I mean, it's a competitive game, but it definitely emphasizes teamwork. This game, actually, you get more points for doing mission objectives, which you'll see the bigger targets that are either yellow or green. I'm playing on colorblind mode, by the way. Usually all that stuff, all the enemies would be red, which I can see, but it's a lot harder for me to see than the white and the bright either yellow or green. I really can't tell. I don't want to say one or the other and be wrong, but this is an interesting level because it's harder actually for the bad guys in this one. Usually the Rebel Alliance are the ones that are usually have to do specialized stuff. And this one you're just mostly hunting down TIE Fighters. Usually when you play as the Empire, the Trade Federation, I was trying to think of what the droids were, are the First Order. You're usually just blowing up X-Wings, but this is a nice change where you actually get to fly the X-Wings and destroy the TIE Fighters, which are a lot more fragile. What's cool about the X-Wings is it actually has the astromech droid option. You'll see on the bottom right hand side, if you push, it looks like L1, I can't remember it offhand. If you push L1, like your droid will recharge or refill your health a little bit, so that's pretty exciting. When you're a TIE Fighter, that's usually for, I think it, I was trying to think what it did. When you're a TIE Fighter, it actually is just like a afterburner where you run away really fast. Like even with the newer ones, which I think the newer ones actually have shields in the movie universe, but they kind of wanted to balance things out and keep it closer to keeping everything pretty much the same with all the vehicles throughout the game, even if they take place in different time eras, just because they want everything to feel familiar no matter what era you play, which is cool. Sometimes they switch it up with the Arc Fighters, which are the clone troopers fighters that have like the 3 wings on it, and it kind of looks like a dragonfly. It reminds me of the way it's shaped. I kind of hope they add more levels like this. Like I said, like the Starfighter missions are obviously my favorite. That's why I chose this. I'll probably show more of the game at some point. I know this is a dead horse, but this is coming from someone who actually loves this game. Like I'm not gonna beat around the bush. So I killed enough enemies so I could unlock Poe Dameron, which is basically like a more advanced version of the X-Wing. You also can unlock Luke Skywalker. I think this is the first time I've ever even picked Poe Dameron to my memory, and He's actually awesome. As much as I love the Millennium Falcon, like, did I say that right? I kind of stuttered a little bit. The Millennium Falcon. As much as I love that ship, for levels like this, it would be pretty unwieldy, like trying to like fly behind debris. Although I will say, if you attempt it and you survive, and you're actually able to rotate your ship, because the Millennium Falcon is pretty flat, it looks really cool. And it feels awesome. You feel like a badass, and that's something that's added to this game that wasn't in the original Battlefront game, is to be able to do barrel rolls and stuff like that. The game kind of did it automatically for you back in the day, so that's a nice little addition, I will say. So yeah, I'm killing enemies left and right, but as a hero, which never usually happens, so it felt pretty good, especially since I'm recording. Usually when I'm recording, I'm feeling the peer pressure, and I actually do pretty shitty, worse than I would if I was just playing without recording, because even though people aren't technically watching, I feel like there's the potential of people watching, and then I get super nervous. I'm starting to find out fast in this game that zooming in, it helps with far away enemies, but what you really want to do is to be able to control your ship and try to shoot without trying to zoom in. You're more accurate when you zoom in with the L1 button, kind of like a first person shooter if you look down the sights. And L1 will actually make you more accurate, but you're a lot faster if you can figure out how to manually aim quick enough, and I'm trying to figure out a good balance between that, and I'm finding myself getting more and more kills. Now you'll see this shield right here, like you can't actually shoot through it. You have to either shoot the enemy inside or out. This little mini games, it's kind of stressful, but it's kind of cool because there wasn't really a good way in the first game to really avoid missiles beside doing the evasive maneuvers that you did with the D-pad. I think there is left, right, and then up, which would make you actually do like a 180 and turn all the way around. And that was basically the way you avoided missiles. In this, you turn around and you're trying to speed around until the arrow starts to go back. The closer the arrow gets, the closer it's getting to your ship until it'll eventually hit you. But if you steer it in the right direction, you'll see the arrow going away and you'll actually evade the missile. Sometimes you can take a missile hit. The TIE fighters are obviously much more fragile than the X-Wings, but the TIE fighters are also a lot more maneuverable, so a TIE fighter can actually pretty much maneuver around an X-Wing like nobody's business, especially if you're flying a TIE Interceptor. On the other hand, if you have an A-Wing, which is like the Rebel Alliance / New Republic's version of the Interceptor, that one's super fragile, but you can pretty much hunt down TIE fighters like nobody's business. But I definitely would wait before you start using those and unlock some cards, which you do by getting kills and winning matches. So I feel like the whole loot system thing, it's not a game changer, it's just helpful. Like, for instance, you can get your weapons to not overheat as much and stuff like that. Little subtle things. If you were playing an RPG, you would be unlocking the same thing. Now, if there's people that want to pay to win, that's fine, but if they suck at the game, it's not going to help them. They're going to have extra benefits, and they're not going to know how to use them, and they're going to die anyway. And if you're fairly decent at the game, which I find that a lot of players, for whatever reason, are super good at the first person parts, which I'm terrible at, but they're still fun. I'll play them every once in a while, especially Galactic Conquest, that I might cover at some point. And the campaign's really good because that has basically all aspects of the multiplayer mode, but what I really want is all the online modes to be able to be played offline in arcade mode. That's what I would really like, because these modes would be really fun with bots. And there are bots, like if you see like TK47 or some name like that. That's usually a bot. They're super easy. They're easier to get points, but you definitely know when you're fighting against another player. First of all, the name's more creative. Second of all, you get a better dogfight, which is always fun. But it's a really nice game. You can tell they really went out of their way to do all this stuff. But yeah, like, I'm terrible at Galactic Conquest, and I will get destroyed. And then Blast, which is like Call of Duty and claustrophobic environments, I'm even worse. But I'll play those modes maybe at a different time. I just wanted to cover Starfighter Assault. Yoda's Starfighter is pretty cool. I don't think I ever saw it in the movies. I think Yoda Starfighter is actually from the Rebels film, or the TV series Rebels, which I have all 3 seasons of. I actually really like that show, even though it's kind of for kids, but it definitely feels like old Star Wars with Ralph McQuarrie designs, and I believe Yoda Starfighter is in that. Even though it was a defeat, I got a lot of kills, so I get a lot of points, which is good because then with the points I can either unlock characters or buy more loot crates and stuff like that. And I guess it's kind of like gambling, but I mean, no money's involved, and right now you can't spend any money. If you want to, I mean, that's up to you, but it's not going to make you a better player. But anyway, I really like this game. I just wanted to share my experience with you. This is Starfighter Assault on Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the PlayStation 4. It looks beautiful and awesome on the PlayStation 4 Pro. But anyway, I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and bye.
If you want to, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.